how to win the battle against yourself. Now let's begin. Motivation comes in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. It's the drive that wakes you up in the morning. It's your desire to make a difference in the world. It's the kick in the backside that you need to start grabbing life by the horns. No matter what your passions or goals are, you rely on your motivation to find happiness, success, value. In many ways, your motivation makes your life worth living. But every kind of motivation has one common enemy. Bogged down by fear, doubt, and pessimism, you do more damage to your motivation than anyone else ever could. So, how do you escape this toxic mindset? How can you possibly win a war against yourself? Let's ground this question in a real-world example. For the first 17 years of his life, Will was known as a capable and intelligent student. He had a large group of friends. He excelled in sports. His teachers loved him, and his parents, well, they couldn't be more proud. Everyone in Will's environment admired him. He was a big fish in a small pond, so naturally his dreams followed suit. He was 100% sure he would be successful one day, so he never bothered to think any harder about it. On the surface, it sounds like Will had it made, right? Well, doesn't that mean he really is on the path toward a successful, meaningful life? Okay, let's jump forward a few years. Will was admitted into his first pick of colleges, but he quickly realized his world was not as small and easy as it used to be. He was surrounded by an ocean of equally intelligent students. They were just as quick and hardworking as he was, which could have been a great opportunity for Will. It was a rare chance to challenge himself. But here's the problem. Will never developed any intrinsic motivation. In other words, he didn't take the time to reflect on why his achievements were important to him. He spent his whole life soaking in extrinsic rewards like praise and attention. He was riding a high of other people's expectations. But in this new environment, those extrinsic rewards weren't there anymore. Will was feeling empty and aimless. He looked around at all the other ambitious students and experienced self-doubt. Instead of rising to the occasion, he was too intimidated to perform at his best. He wondered, why aren't things working out like they used to? Why isn't success falling into my lap? Will then made the same mistake that thousands and thousands of other people make throughout their lives. He shoved those negative feelings as far down as he could. He covered up his insecurities with false confidence and ambivalence. When his grades began to suffer, he should have tried harder. However, he insisted that grades didn't matter or that his teachers just hated him. When he found himself falling behind other students, he didn't recognize his lack of effort. He just said, they got lucky. Finally, toward the end of college, Will saw an opportunity to pursue a high-paying job at a bank. It was the kind of lucrative position he'd always imagined he would have after graduation. In a few days, a recruiter was coming to Will's college to meet potential candidates. It was an amazing opportunity to network and learn about the position. Will expected to waltz right in, start up a conversation, and easily secure an interview. He was calm and confident until the moment he saw the recruiter. He was surrounded by students who seemed infinitely more qualified than Will was. Will felt overwhelmed and outclassed. Deep down, he wondered, should I even be here? Am I making a fool of myself? Because he constantly avoided challenges, Will had no faith in his own ability to overcome adversity. He had no motivation to drive him over obstacles and push him through rough patches. Yeah, sure enough, Will's ego did what egos do. It protected him from failure. It told him to run away. So he left the event before saying a single word to the recruiter. When his friends asked him what happened, he made more excuses. He responded, I didn't want that job anyway, or it just wasn't my kind of crowd. Now, on the surface, Will wasn't changing all that much, but internally, his motivation and confidence, they'd taken a massive hit. The vision he had of his future was falling apart. His dreams were getting further and further away. He wasn't becoming the kind of person he imagined back in high school, which made him feel inferior and incapable. Without realizing it, he started playing the victim in his own life. Why is everything bad happening to me? Why is everyone else getting lucky while I get nothing? He never stopped to think about the amount of hard work that every other student had put in. He didn't ask himself whether the other candidates wanted that high-paying position more than he did. His pride kept him from admitting that he failed. Will wanted some way to feel superior again, so he dropped back into his comfort zone. Since he couldn't stand the idea of being underqualified, Will took a lower-paying job as a salesperson at a department store. It's something he knew he could excel at. It didn't matter if it made him happy or if he felt fulfilled. He'd take the safest road and benefit from the same extrinsic rewards that got him through high school. He assumed he'd feel confident and superior again if he put himself in this easy position. But it doesn't work that way, or at least not for long. Over time, his lifestyle made him incredibly unhappy. He developed a number of bad habits, simply because he didn't have any goals to aim for. He wasted a significant amount of his time. His physical and mental health suffered. He used to have other interests and passions, but stopped trying to pursue those too. The truth was that Will didn't have enough self-esteem to put himself out there. He'd talk as though his dreams were just around the corner. As long as they were happening someday, that wasn't today, he didn't have to put in the hard work. He didn't have to experience rejection or failure. Now, you've probably noticed a pattern with Will. He's constantly searching for someone or something to motivate him, to do the hard work in his place, to tell him exactly why his life is meaningful. But real motivation, the kind that can last a lifetime, comes directly from you. It's a unique form of power and value that you have to give yourself every single day. If you don't, you'll never be able to achieve anything. If you're convinced you're going to be a complete failure, well, you will be. In Will's life, his rock bottom changed everything. This happened when he was fired from his sales job. Remember now, this was the position he thought he was extremely overqualified for. He never tried, he never cared, because he didn't have to. But when he was fired, he couldn't blame the world anymore. He just couldn't pretend like this was just another fluke. He realized that life had been giving him chances all along. It was sending opportunities his way, but he was wasting them. The truth is that no one automatically deserves success. If you want something, the only way to get it is to work for it. That means you have to overcome insecurities and set aside your pride. Just look at Will. His ego tried to shield him from failure, but it ultimately drove his life right into the ground. Now, at that point, Will needed to figure out what he wanted out of life. He asked himself, what makes me happy? Why is my life important to me? It took some work and a whole lot of self-reflection, but Will did find one possible answer. He knew he enjoyed making other people happy. He didn't realize it back in high school, but it wasn't praise and attention that motivated him. It was the smile on his parents' faces when he told them how well he was doing. This was an ill-defined goal, but it was something Will really wanted. I guess you could say that even the most devastating failures still open up new doors. Funnily enough, Will had just lost a job where he could actually pursue his one goal. He went back to the department store and convinced his manager to give him a second chance. This time, he ignored his ego. He stopped standing in his own way. He let himself try, care, and to get invested. And it paid off. Suddenly, one goal evolved into two, and two evolved into many. He was slowly but surely growing into a version of himself that he genuinely liked. Now, don't get me wrong, those feelings of anxiety and intimidation never really go away. When he applied to take over his manager's job, Will still felt like running for the hills. He nearly skipped his interview, almost like he did back in college. But this time, his motivation kept him on the right path. It pushed him out of his comfort zone because it made his failures worthwhile. So if you want to win the battle against yourself, you need to ignore the voice in your head that tells you to run away or take the easy road. You can't spend your life hiding inside your comfort zone. You need to figure out what kind of person you want to be and then spend every day fighting to make it happen. Hey,